Welcome to Fathom FinTech podcast, where we discuss everything about the future of finance. And I'm your host, Jeet Bhatti, CEO and founder of Fathom Foresight. Today, we have a very special episode because we are going to discuss Quebec FinTech Report 2024, which was just released, and it's a collaborative effort between Fathom Foresight, Finance Montreal, and Station Fintech Montréal. Quebec has a very thriving and flourishing fintech ecosystem with some of the big names in the industry like Flinks, Hopper, Nuvei, Veltica, and a lot more fintechs that call Quebec their home. So we are going to discuss some of the recent insights, both in terms of stats, but also what does the ecosystem look like in terms of recent innovations, product launches, mergers, partnerships. So this episode is fully packed with a lot of insights from the Canadian province of Quebec, specifically focusing on the fintech and financial innovation space there. And today joining me is Elsa Vande Voorde, who's Director of Innovations and Technology at Finance Montreal. So let's get into it. Hello, Elsa. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Jeet. I'm so happy to be with you.
Same here, and hope you're well. I know you just had a great event and launched the report in Toronto.
Yeah.
So hope that went well.
Yeah, exactly. I was in Toronto this weekend. Yeah, we did launch the report at the Canadian FinTech Forum, and it was an amazing one. So thank you for that.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, also before we start talking about the report, for our audience who are not familiar with Finance Montreal and Station Fintech, can you share a little bit about what these organizations are doing in the Quebec fintech ecosystem and the role they are playing in fostering the fintech ecosystem there?
So Finance Montréal, it's the financial cluster for Quebec. So our mission is to foster the growth and the competitiveness of the financial industry in Quebec. And so within this, innovation is one of our key pillars, obviously. So this is where fintechs come in, right? So this is why Finance Montréal has created Station Fintech, which is a physical hub, a physical co-working space based in downtown Montreal. So we're currently hosting 37 startups. And on top of that, it's actually a broader platform for collaboration, for visibility, for mentorship, and so on. So we bring together startups, financial institutions, academics, and obviously investors, right? And so through our events, through the free programs that we deliver to startups, through the partnerships that we build, like the one that we have with Fathom Foresight, we do help fintechs to grow. We connect our ecosystem and we show Quebec as a hub of innovation.
That's really wonderful. Yeah. And of course, I must mention you have a beautiful office in a beautiful building at a very central location in Montreal. So if anybody is interested, I would say definitely check that out. A very, very beautiful
Thank you
office.
so much.
And also, Finance Montreal recently launched this program, Ellie FinTech, which is a very promising initiative for female founders in the fintech space. And I think this is the second cohort this year. You're running the second cohort of the program. Can you share a little bit about that with our audience as well?
Definitely. So Elle FinTech, it's an initiative that I've created, for Finance Montréal last year for the very first time. So I wanted to address the underrepresentation of women in the tech industry, but especially in fintech, because entrepreneurship is really hard. The fintech industry is rough. And so that's why when you are underrepresented, it's 100 times harder. So how I do know that it's 100 times harder because I've been there. So that's why I've been inspired, I guess, by my own struggles, right? But I've been inspired by all of these entrepreneurs, that I came across. So I've built this program where we give tools, we give mentorship, and we give the exposure that is necessary, to succeed in this kind of industry. So the program includes workshops on pitch preparation and delivery. It includes individual coaching and financing strategies as well. And so, of course, it culminates with a demo day at the FinTech Forum in September. It's in Montreal. It's a huge event. And so we have pitches on the main stage of the FinTech Forum. And so this first edition was absolutely amazing. I'm so happy that I've been able to meet all of these amazing women. And to give you, some results from this first cohort, we have Doria from Urgentium, if I can mention her. She's been able to find her first client thanks to the FinTech Forum.
Oh, wonderful.
I know.
That's
I was
really
so happy for her.
wonderful. Yeah.
Then we have Laura from Flora. So after the forum, she was raising 1.5 million. And I like to think that we did help, in this.
Wonderful.
And
Wow.
then we have Emmanuelle from Oxia. So she's been noticed actually by a great New York accelerator. So thanks to her pitch at the FinTech Forum. And she's been inviting to join them in March in New York to meet other financial institutions.
Wow.
So all of this, it was super motivating to do it again. So right now we're running cohort 2. And I'm looking forward to the pitches on September at the FinTech Forum.
Wow, Elsa, congratulations. Like that's a wonderful first cohort update and the success. I
Thank
just
you.
want to wish like all the participants of this year all the best, and I'm sure there are good things coming their way with this. But that's totally amazing, and kudos to you as well. This is, I know personally, you have been really involved on this mission of helping female founders. So
Thanks a lot.
that's really wonderful. Elsa, let's talk about the Quebec FinTech 2024 report that we just launched.
Yes.
So as of December 2024, we had 275 fintechs that are that called Quebec their home, which is a 6-time increase in the number over last 15 years. We had 45 companies in 2010, and now we are sitting at 275. That's quite a consistent year-over-year growth. What are your thoughts on this, recent surge? Because the 11% of these companies were actually founded in last 2 years. So we've seen some growth in last 2 years specifically. What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely. I think to me that this growth is both exciting and it's telling. First, it shows the resilience of our ecosystem, especially in these rough times and where funding has slowed down for sure. Second, the entrepreneurial momentum, that continues to build here in Quebec. And I feel that we are witnessing this new generation of entrepreneurs that are tackling very diverse challenges, from climate finance to open banking to embedded finance and generative AI. And I think that this new generation of entrepreneurs, they're really connected to the real market needs. And that's a shift.
Wow. No, that's for sure. And I think some of the new sectors that have, the emerging sectors that we are seeing grow in the ecosystem, that is a testament to that. That leads me to my next question. So, looking at the insights from the current report, how the sectoral landscape of Quebec's fintech ecosystem has evolved in 2024. Can you share some thoughts on which are the sectors that are currently leading in the province?
Yeah, so I would say that the ecosystem is remaining consistent, right, with last year and with even previous years. So in terms of sectoral distribution, payment, lending, and AI remain, the largest sectors. Payment being the largest sector at the Quebec level, but it makes sense because it's the largest sector as well from a Canada perspective. In terms of business model, we still have a big focus here in Quebec on B2B because more of half of our startups actually focus on B2B. And finally, we still see this concentration in Montreal because 80% of startups are based in Montreal and headquartered here.
Right. Yeah. And I think when we talk about the B2B model being the leading model, that's same at the national level too, which because Fathom Foresight actually tracks all the fintechs that are operating in Canada. And whenever I put that fact out, that we have more fintechs in Canada who are out there servicing small businesses versus retail clients. I always get surprising looks
Yeah.
on that because it is definitely an interesting fact about our ecosystem. Quebec-based FinTechs now employ nearly 91,000 people globally and over 20,000 people in Canada alone, which is around 7% year over year growth that we have seen in this employment trend by Quebec-based FinTechs. How is this shaping the talent landscape in the province?
So to me, it's really reshaping our talent landscape in several significant ways. First, it shows the global reach of our industry. And second, it shows the local impact that we have, because these numbers are definitely not insignificant, right? So the concentration of fintechs, as was mentioned earlier, in Montreal reinforces the city status as a global innovation hub, for the finance industry. And so it does attract professionals, it does attract investment, and so it encourages collaboration. So we not only retain local talent, but we are able to attract professionals from other provinces, but as well as from other countries.
Awesome. Let's move on to the investment and funding trends. So in 2024, Quebec FinTechs actually secured 428 million Canadian dollars in funding, which is 27% of Canada's total fintech funding, which stood at 1.58 million and this figure is as per Fathom Foresight collected data. Elsa, what stands out to you about this funding trend?
So first, Jeet, I have to tell you that when I saw these figures, I was shocked. I never thought that Quebec would attract, so much funding. It's absolutely amazing. And I guess it really shows that our market is mature and is really strong, right?
Right.
So if we can mention the main funding rounds, you have Blockstream, and thanks to them, that's why we are attracting so much funding, right? Because they got closed at 290 million in fundings. Then comes Flare with 42 million, and then you have many other rounds like Zoomrails, like Coash, like Gaia, and so on. So it's really strong. But I think it's important as well to remind everybody that there's still a decline in funding, especially for seed levels. And so it's funny because we mentioned earlier that this week I was at the Canadian FinTech Forum, right? Canadian FinTech Summit, in Toronto. And so it was mentioned that in Canada, the advice to founders and to entrepreneurs is to be like a camel. So it means that they're going through this long and dry journey without any funding until at some point when they meet a good traction and they have enough clients, there finally they will find support with investors and so on. So it means that right now startups more than ever need to be bootstrapped.
Wow, that's a very interesting insight, Elsa. Thank you. And you're
Yeah,
right,
welcome.
we are in the midst of a bit of economic and political turmoil overall.
Yeah.
So you should be ready for hope for the best and be ready for the worst in a way. So let's talk about some of the emerging innovations in the space. And two that really stood out to me were SME ecosystem and prop techs. A lot of fintechs are being founded in these two sectors. And SME ecosystem specifically, I feel they are building these bundled services all in one kind of platform for small and medium businesses to handle all their operational and financial needs at a single place. Can you tell us a bit more about these innovations?
Sure. So first, I'd like to say that thanks to these SME ecosystem solutions and PropTech solutions, it's a good reminder that working in B2B doesn't only mean working for big institutions, right? So first, you have indeed a surge in these new platforms offering tailored services for small and medium enterprises. So these platforms are going to integrate different services like invoicing, accounting, financing, CRM, etc. In unified systems, and so it simplifies the operation for SMEs. Letting them focus on what is important to them, right? So strategy, growth, and doing less admin task. In Quebec, we have two great examples. So you have Gaia, which is dedicated to internet service providers, and then you have Flip, which is dedicated to gym management. On the PropTech side, all of these new solutions are aiming to modernize the real estate industry. So innovation goes from streamlining property management to enhancing tenant experience to facilitating decision-making process based on real-time data. And so now, especially with the integration of AI in this kind of solution, it does enable more accurate valuation and predictive maintenance, which supports a more sustainable and responsive real estate practices.
Right. And we're seeing quite a surge in prop tech overall at the national level as well. So that's a
Nice.
trend overall. Talking about the lending space, we have seen some very strategic developments over last year in the lending sector as well, particularly the Fairstone and Home Trust merger, and also France-based lending platform Huge that launched in Canada recently with strategic presence in Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, and BC. So, how do you think these kind of moves in the lending space are relevant for Quebec?
So to me, these are really interesting milestones, and it shows a shift and an improvement of this landscape. So first, with the merger of Fairstone and Home Trust, it's creating a new leading alternative lender here in Canada, which is going to enhance, the experience for customers, offering a new set of offers, like new set of financial products, like mortgages, personal loans, credit cards, and so on. And it's mainly dedicated to non-prime customers who may be facing challenges with the traditional banking solutions, right? So this does improve the financial inclusion here in Quebec. Then you have Huge, as you mentioned, and special shout out to my friend Frédéric Roy, who's leading, the entity here in Canada. So Huge, it's actually a 100% digital credit broker that aims to simplify access to consumer credits. It's a French company, and so it's actually the first expansion that they're doing internationally here with Huge Canada. So this expansion really shows more diversity in the lending space. Dedicated to customers, so it's super interesting, and it shows that Montreal is an attractive place for foreign companies. And if I can mention another interesting event is the acquisition actually of CMLS by Nesto, and so this acquisition, is creating the as they call it, right, Canada's mortgage ecosystem of the future. So all of this together, I feel it's super exciting for the lending space.
No, that's wonderful. Also, I think just to mention the Fig brand, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Fairstone Bank as well, they launched a direct-to-consumer personal loans platform recently as well, and they are coming out of Montreal itself. And then Nuvei, I guess the payments leader, global leader from Montreal. They also launched invoice financing solutions for merchants, which can be directly, accessed. You can directly access capital from the ERP systems. So, in case you have some cash flow gaps and you want to unlock some working capital, you can do that more efficiently now by through this product. So that's quite a huge, I guess, range of strategic developments that we're seeing in the lending space coming from Quebec. So Elsa, talking about open banking now, it's on the horizon for Canada now. And what's your view on Quebec's position and role in taking open banking agenda forward in Canada?
So I would say that Quebec has been proactive in adapting to this evolving financial ecosystem, because the Prevent Private Sector Act introduced the data portability back in September. So enabling individuals, to transfer their data in a structured format, which is a foundation, right, for open banking, because it does facilitate data sharing between financial institutions and third parties. And on the other side, in Quebec, we have companies like Flinks that has been leading the space, for many years now, among other solutions like Wealthica, which has a very innovative approach. So I would say that in between a like proactive measures that have been taken already, on top of a great fintech landscape here in Quebec, I think we're getting ready for open banking for sure. And I would add to that the European influence that we have here for sure, because Europe is way more advanced than anybody else in open banking, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And you just mentioned Flinks, Elsa. That reminds me about the interview that we did with the team for the report.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, some of the Flinks founders have actually ventured into a new. They've launched a new company now called Deck, based out of Montreal. They've also raised some funding, and this time they are going after utility data. So they are acting as facilitators of utility data for different use cases. I think some of the financial use cases are part of that as well. So it's definitely interesting, and I think they're opening up a whole new alternative data category in Canada, and I think beyond. I did see that they have some global mention as well on their website. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to, how that's going to impact the ecosystem in Canada.
And I can tell you that these guys from Flinks, they're famous in here. We all know them.
Oh, they are famous Canada-wide, so for sure, yeah, yeah. So also before we wrap up, what do you see as the biggest opportunities and upcoming trends for the Quebec FinTech ecosystem?
Sure. So I would say that obviously payment will still be the leading sector, right? In Canada, it won't be a surprise, especially because we're about to have the introduction of the Canada's real-time real payment system, which is going to have a huge impact, on payments. But I would say the three sectors that I would see popping or growing significantly next year, I would say open banking, as we mentioned, because we're expecting, in Canada, the rollout of a framework in 2026. Second, I would say AI. AI is going to be big, and I mean, we have to make it big, especially with the development of agentic AI. Agentic AI, yes.
Yeah.
And three, I would mention sustainable finance, because I heard the news, like everybody, I know, but I think we won't have a choice but to care about it. And it's a good occasion for Canada, or I mean, especially Quebec, to be positioned as a leader in ethical finance.
And I think we already have quite a few, just talking about AI, we have quite a few fintechs in the AI and data analytics space from Quebec that have been around for some time and doing pretty good. So that's really amazing insight. Thanks, Elsa. And also thank you for sharing such amazing and valuable insights about the ecosystem in Quebec. It's pretty clear that the Quebecan ecosystem is not just thriving, but it is shaping how the future of fintech is going to look like in Canada, but also globally. And Finance Montreal and Station Fintech, both the organizations are playing a huge role in growth and development of the ecosystem. So kudos to your teams as well. But
Thanks a lot.
So grateful that you could join us today, Elsa.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm super happy that we had to share this moment, and especially that we are sharing this report. It's super interesting. It's loved, by the community. So looking forward to the next report as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one is coming in September this year.
Ooh, oh yeah, true, already.
Yeah, we will be launching at your event,
Yes.
the Canada's Canadian FinTech Forum 2025. So definitely looking forward to that and excited about that.
Me too. I'm super excited. Thank you so much, Jeet, for the opportunity.
Thanks, Elsa.
Bye.
And that was Elsa sharing some valuable insights from the fintech ecosystem of Quebec. If you're interested in more such market research, or market intelligence from competitive perspective, or if you're looking for fintech partners to work with, do reach out to us at fathomforesight.com. We are a knowledge as a service platform that can help you understand the market better and take strategic decisions with data-backed research. But with that, I'll see you in the next episode and take care.